as far as, the guys you faced, where would you put Derek? Is he up there with the toughest guys you faced? Are you expecting the toughest challenge you've had thus far? Are you preparing like it's the biggest fight of your career, or the toughest rather?
I train I treat everybody as the toughest of my career, but I have 100% confidence in my own abilities, and he's just another guy in my way. I'm gonna put him on my resume, and I'm not shaken by anything that he's done. I feel like I excel in all aspects of the fight. He think he can come in there and take me down, and he can try. You can get a rude awakening. I'm a two-time world champion. I know what it takes to win fights, and yeah, if he's overlooking me, he's gonna get a rude awakening because I want to put hands on him.
How's it going?
No, it's all good. Thank you. How you guys doing?
Good, man. We're doing good. We're excited about the fight, man. Obviously, we were literally just talking about it. That it's been a while since we've seen you last. And like a lot of times we like to get together, watch a lot of your fights as well as other big PFL events. You got an exciting style. So it's always fun to watch. But for a guy like you, man, you're sitting out over a year, right? What's that like? Is it frustrating to not be able to step in there and compete to do what you love?
Yeah, it's very irritating. I know to show the whole problem with PFL. They just tapped me out. Because I wanted to move up in weight. It was just taking a toll on me to keep going to 70. And my doctor also advised me to step up in weight. Um, yeah, I don't believe in keep cutting weight, keep killing yourself, and
Right.
from fighting 5 times a year. These last, I don't know, 4 years I was with the PFL, 6 years, from fighting every five times a year to sitting out this whole year is kind of irritating.
Especially since PFL, the format, you're always used to competing a set number of times a year, right? So I'm sure it's like a drastic change for you. But listen, on the flip side, right? You get the call, you're fighting Derek Brunson. What are the emotions as far as that goes, right? Because that's obviously a far different feeling than not getting calls, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm always down to throw down, and when they called me, I was just, yeah, let's do it. I really don't care who I fight as long as I'm in there. I come to fight every single time, and my resume speaks for itself. So I'm ready. He's just a guy in my way, and I'm gonna run him over.
As far as the inactivity, right, with the PFL, like, do you think it was just strictly maybe just you sort of getting in? I don't know, I guess what the word would be, like a purgatory, I guess, between weight classes. And since you're moving up, I guess, is that what it was? I guess they didn't know what to do with you. I mean, what do you think it was aside from just the fact that you were moving up? Could it be that they didn't know what to do with you next? They didn't really have plans, and perhaps they were like, let's just sit him down on the sideline and we'll see what pops up. You think that's what it was?
Um, I really don't know, and it really doesn't matter to me what their deal is. I feel like they set out the most exciting fighter, and it showed throughout the year, the season. It hasn't been getting any. It hasn't even looked the way it looked from the last previous years. From the playoffs is not two fights in a night anymore. It's only one fight. That kind of turned me off to the tournament style. So um, it's whatever.
Yeah, we'll move on from it. The only reason I ask is it does seem like something that, maybe didn't sit well with you. It looked like you wanted to stay busy, right? Given, how busy you were in years past. But nonetheless, as far as this past season, you were ready to compete at 185 pounds, right? Were you doing things differently as far as your diet, as far as how much you trained? Were you doing anything differently over the course of this last year just to sort of prep you for the 185 pounds, or not really?
Not really. I cut from like probably like 220 to get to 70. So staying around 200, it was it's pretty much perfect. And um,
So
yeah,
same
there's
deal, just not having to cut like those extra pounds, right? That's pretty much it. Just not killing
yeah,
yourself there at the end, right? But same thing, more or less.
yeah, same thing, more or less. It didn't change too much except for cutting that last extra 20 pounds. It's kind of brutal on your body.
Yeah, I would imagine. That's one thing I love about, one championship and other places that they like to sort of keep fighters at their natural weight. I love that because I really do hate weight cutting. I think it's a big asterisk on MMA. But obviously, you got a big fight coming up again with Derek Brunson. When did you start camp for that one, man? Because it's not too far away now, right?
Yeah. Probably around like when my brother was getting ready to fight in one, so probably about like 3 months ago. So
Yeah, speaking
uh,
of one, right?
yeah, yeah. So around there.
How's it, by the way, how's it like having, having a brother fight another big organization? You're able to support him, you know what I mean? Maybe help him out a bit. What's it like, man, having you guys sort of compete simultaneously in two big promotions? That's awesome. Like, how many brothers could say that?
Yeah. There's a lot of brothers that train together, but not like how me and my family is.
No,
We just train out of my our gym at home, and it's just us. And
that's
he just fought
crazy.
in one. Yeah, he just fought in one. He's just getting his career started, getting his feet wet. Two of my brothers are fighters, so
Yeah,
it's good to see
full
them.
family of fighters.
Yeah.
Good for him, man. He's in a great place. So, wish him all the best. As far as this move up to middleweight, right? Was it solely based on just the weight cutting? It was getting harder, or was there another part of you that was like, "Hey, man, fresh faces, fresh opponents, fresh start in a weight class"? Like, dude, you won the PFL title at welterweight twice already, right? Is there a part of you that's like, yeah, maybe a new challenge could be something refreshing?
Um.
Or was it solely, I mean, maybe it was solely the weight cut, but were you looking at it in any different perspective besides that?
No, not really. It was just
Oh, so
I
it's
just
just that.
I'm sick of cutting weight, and I like fight at what I feel strong at. And there's and when you go up to heavier weights, the guys is better. You know what I mean? Once you get more up, and all the guys in 70. I mean, I'm not the biggest 170-pound fighter. You know what I mean? There's
Mhm.
other guys in that weight class is taller than me, bigger than me, but it really doesn't matter because the night of the fight, I get up to like probably 200 pounds. So yeah, it's just I just wanted to stop cutting weight and fight at my strongest.
You talked about you struggling to make weight, or how it was getting harder and harder, right? You're saying you're talking about guys that are bigger than you, a welterweight. Do you scratch your head wondering like, how the hell do you make weight, man?
Yeah, like all these guys, like Magomed Kermov, he's huge and
He's big.
he's big and he cuts to 170 and he's struggling to cut to 170. So that whole persona of being the bigger guy in the lighter weight class is so far fetched because you're only killing yourself. And when you get into a championship fight, you got to fight 5 rounds. It takes the toll on you because you got to fight the night before, fighting your body, cutting that weight, and um, it just takes a toll on your body. And I hope younger fighters realize that not to kill yourself in the beginning of your career because it's going to hurt you in the long run.
Even the whole weight bully thing, that's not a thing, right? Like, because it ends up sort of balancing out, right? Like, yeah, you're going to be fighting guys smaller, but you're going to be so drained that it'll end up just sort of balancing out again, or maybe getting even worse, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah, because I mean, you're only going to kill yourself, and then you're only going to get weaker. And the smaller guy is more fresh. Maybe he's not cutting as much as you, but
Right.
you know, it's just not healthy for for me as my opinion. That's not healthy for me, and I refuse to keep doing it.
I agree. If we take a look at the guys you sort of taken on your career, some of the guys you got wins over, it's super impressive, right? Obviously, you got Rory McDonald, Magomed, right? Chris Curtis, Jake Shields, the list goes on, right? But as far as Derek Brunson, he's a pretty big name himself, right? Like, as far as the guys you faced, where would you put Derek? Is he up there with the toughest guys you faced? Are you expecting the toughest challenge you've had thus far? Are you preparing like it's the biggest fight of your career, or the toughest rather?
Uh, I train every I treat everybody as the toughest of my career, but I have 100% confidence in my own abilities, and he's just another guy in my way. I'm gonna put him on my resume, and I'm not shaken by anything that he's done. I feel like I excel in all aspects of the fight. He think he can come in there and take me down, and he can try. You can get a rude awakening. I'm a two-time world champion. I know what it takes to win fights, and yeah, if he's overlooking me, he's gonna get a rude awakening because I want to put hands on him.
100%. And I want to get into that a little bit. But before I ask, the reason why I ask is because, I mean, you obviously know, I mean, for you, I'm sure it is. Maybe you internalize it that way, but it's not just like a next fight for you. Like, this is a guy that was in the UFC middleweight division. There's going to be a lot more eyeballs on this fight, if I'm just being honest. You know what I mean? Which is good for you. I mean, you do know that, right? Like, regardless of how you internalize it, you do understand that this is still probably one of the bigger fights on paper of your career. That is something you do know, right?
I mean, I guess I really don't. I really don't see it that way. I really don't
You don't
care
see it that way?
what he's done. No, not really. Um, he's just a guy in my way because I've been sitting up for a long time and everybody's been passing me by. Like, and it's just he's in my way of my goal to keep fighting the best guys. And yeah,
I always thought he was one of the more dangerous wrestlers, rather, in the middleweight division when he was in the UFC. Obviously, you're a very good wrestler yourself, right? It's going to seem like two forces colliding. What do you expect? Because obviously, if and when that, the fight gets into those wrestling exchanges, you anticipate getting the better of him. I would imagine you got to be confident you're going to go into a fight with him. But how do you see it playing out? Like, are you expecting it to at least be quite competitive in the wrestling, or do you anticipate getting the better of him? What do you think?
yeah, I don't think it's gonna be competitive in the wrestling. I think everybody does it underestimates my wrestling. I've been wrestling for all my life.
You have, yeah.
He's gonna try to wrestle me. He's gonna realize real quick that I ain't no slouch on the ground, and um, his wrestling is ain't up to par of what top notch wrestling is, and I know what is top notch wrestling, and he's kind of sloppy with his takedowns. I feel like Magomed Karamov is a 10 time better wrestler than him, and I took him down, and yeah, so I'm not too worried about his wrestling. He's just gonna try to take me down because he's not gonna want to keep the fight standing.
As far as his striking, it looked like you weren't sort of too high on that based on maybe what I saw from you in some interviews. Is there something that you're, I guess what I would say, are there things that you were preparing for specifically in this camp based on maybe some things you saw in his striking in the past that you felt you could compromise? Like, are there things you've been preparing for specifically as far as Brunson striking?
No, I don't go off of people's stuff. I just gonna go out there and I know my striking, and I feel like he's just slow. That's from what I saw in his fights. He's slower. I'm gonna be the quicker striker in there, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
I would imagine the answer is yes, but that seems like a universal thing for you, right? Is that how you approach every fight? You don't care who it is, you just prepare, even if it's a guy with credible wrestling like Magomed, like you just said. You don't even key in on those things. You just sort of go upon the way you were going to train, regardless. Is that accurate?
Yeah, it's a fight at the end of the day. You
Anything
can
can happen, right?
anything
Maybe
can
it's
happen.
too specific of a game plan might be a detriment, right?
I mean, that's just how I am and how I fight. I already know how to fight, so I just prepare myself to get in the best physical shape I can. Run miles, do a round of sparring, do the live wrestling, and that's pretty much it. Probably people they game plan too much, and sometimes the game plan is not gonna work if somebody's punching you in the mouth the whole time. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's just how I go through my camp.
Was that always like that, or did you sort? Because obviously you got a number of fights now under your belt. You've been competing since like 2012.
Yeah, yeah, 2012. Yeah,
So, I mean, time flies, right? We're already at like what, 13, 11, 12 years.
yeah.
Was it always like that? Was it always that routine? Or maybe in the beginning you did key in on guys a little more? Like, obviously things change and adjust as you go along, right? How, how, how many fights have you been doing it with this regimen?
I mean, I've been doing it like this all my life. But my dad,
Oh, that's right.
he's
Because you
really
got your dad, who was a great sort of,
yeah.
wisdom guy already, because he went through it.
So my dad, he's a real technical guy, game planner, like wanting to figure stuff out. So he really keys in on those things that I really don't. I really could care less about any videos I watch or the guys that I'm facing. I just worry about what I'm gonna do, and yeah, again, it just comes down to it's just a fight, and I have so much fights under my belt, the experience wise that I have. People think about things too much, and you just gotta go in there and fight, plain and simple. It's just whose will is gonna break first.
As far as having your father, sort of help you out and whatnot, given, having a guy in your corner like that who was a fighter himself, even in your family, even beyond your corner, right? Not like a cheat code, but does it feel like, if you didn't have your dad, obviously, is it safe to say you wouldn't be where you are right now? Obviously, maybe you'd still be a good fighter. You are a very good fighter, but having a guy like that, it's got to be an advantage, right? And it's a good thing that is your dad too, because it's family.
Yeah, I don't think I would be the man I am today. He really steered me in the right directions. When I was younger, I was a bit of a knucklehead, and yeah, when I was first in my career, I would just go balls to the walls, and you know what I mean, not really pace myself during fights because just you know what I mean, you're young, and you want to fight, and I wanted to fight right out of high school. I was supposed to go to college and wrestle. Uh, uh, that that didn't work out, and I just wanted to get in there and fight. Seeing all the UFC was getting big at the time, freaking huge, and everybody wanted to be a UFC fighter. So my dad, he really take me down and showed me how to be a controlled aggression instead of full out brute aggressive and not caring what's gonna happen. And it showed in some of my fights that I lost, especially in the PFL. I've gotten knocked out. I lost championships and because of my bullheadedness and not thinking most of the time. So I think I acquired the experience from him, teaching me how to control my aggression.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, amen to that. It seems like he's helped you out a lot, thus far. Given the format of PFL, right? You're not competing. I mean, you are competing on a championship card, but it's not like for a title per se or in the direction of any points or anything. How do you look at this fight? Do you look at it as far as building momentum towards next season?
They're not gonna have a next season for 185, I believe.
Oh, really?
It's
I didn't
just
know that.
yeah, this is just a one-off fight, and
And you want to compete at 185, right?
oh yeah, I'm staying at 185. So they're
So
saying, Brunson is saying he's gonna go to 205. So well, he can do whatever he wants. So I'm not too sure what's gonna happen with that, but yeah, I'm just taking this fight as it goes, and whoever's next is next.
So obviously you're gonna have to make a decision after this fight, right? But you're not looking beyond it. So it's safe to say you're not even thinking about that right now, right?
I mean, yeah, not really thinking about anything else but this fight, and but if Francis Ngannou wants it, he can get it too. He just got in here, so um, yeah.
You've won the PFL championship twice, right? I mean, going forward, right? When you do something like that, maybe not that it becomes ordinary, because I'm sure the money and the accolades are nice, regardless of how many times you did it, right? But do you have any deeper motivations now from when you started winning those first titles? Like, do is family a bigger part of it now? Like, what are your motivations as far as fighting now in the PFL?
Um, I just competing is in my blood. I
Okay.
been doing it for so long, and I'm still chasing that being the best in the world, and everybody knows what the best is. So yeah, it's just my motivation has never changed. I want to be the best that I can be and the best in the world. So that's always driving me to be the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, in this time you've been off, it's safe to say some things have happened, right? Some things have changed. Maybe you don't physically feel it when you're not fighting. Maybe you're watching from home. Like it's not things that you're physically feeling in the moment, right? But it's got to be exciting that the PFL is starting to get, even more eyeballs now with guys like Jay Paul coming in. And you just brought it up. As far as that super fight division thing that they're doing, that could be something fun down the line, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, I'll fight any one of them. Jake Paul, even though he's not even a real fighter, he's just this. I mean, this is a day YouTubers getting in there. And no, there's no disrespect to him. He's doing it. Everybody, he's getting it done. He's become a boxer. So no ill feelings towards them. But super fights is pretty much where I feel like the PFL is leading to. So um, if they're not gonna have a 185 division, I'm gonna be in those super fight divisions.
Absolutely. And obviously, as far as a fighter, it seems like you don't really respect him much. And I can't say I blame you there, my friend. But as far as the promotional side of things, right? And just the corporate stuff and all, the front office stuff, do you at least sort of respect what he's been able to do for PFL, for a company that you've won championships for and you've been able to, help feed and provide your family for? Do you sort of appreciate that at least?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing big things. He's getting a lot of people to watch to watch him and the things that he's doing. It's great
Yeah.
for PFL and the sport. More people are watching, and yeah, I feel it's good, but I don't think he's a real fighter. So if he wants to fight MMA, then we can talk. But as far as boxing wise and saying he's the best, that's totally different.
Last question, man. As far as your fans, right? Can we expect sort of a busy future if it were up to you? Are you looking to stay active now that you've had to sort of sit out on the sidelines, not to your favor, right? Not to your liking? Is it, as far as your fans and, you know, the people who support your fights, who watch your fights like myself, what can we expect, man? Can we expect sort of a busy fight season coming up for you if it was up to you now over the next year or two?
Yes, for sure. Right after this fight, I'm gonna be looking to get right back in there, fight
Awesome.
again, keep fighting. We gotta sit down and talk with the PFL some more to see what they're gonna do. So
Yeah.
yeah, my fans, that I'm gonna be busy this next up and coming years.
Awesome, Ray. Thank you so much. Guys, Ray Cooper, he's taking on Derek Brunson November 24th, the PFL championship card. It's going to be a big fight. It's a big event. I don't need to tell you to tune in. It's going to be a good one. Ray, thanks again, brother, for coming in.
Yes, thank you, brother. Aloha.